Hey everybody, welcome, welcome to Hidden Horror. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate that. Let's get started.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Hidden Horror. How are you this evening on a Thursday? I'm doing okay. I'm here tonight because I got to talk to you about the KA-BAR knife, right? What is going on with the KA-BAR knife purchase? The prosecution is asserting that Bryan Kohberger, he purchased a KA-BAR knife. And of course, we are told that a KA-BAR knife with a tan leather sheath with the insignia of USMC was found next to the right side of Maddie Mogan in the bed on the third floor. So let's talk about it. Let's see what is going on, okay? So, my first article is coming from dnews.com. It's titled Prosecutor Kohberger bought KA-BAR knife before murders. It's by Anthony Coopers and it's dated March 21st, 2025. Among the numerous court documents released Wednesday in the Bryan Kohberger case, the prosecution included details about his purchase of a KA-BAR knife months before the November 13th, 2022 murders of four University of Idaho students. They also included a photograph Kohberger took of himself hours after the murders occurred. Kohberger faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in the stabbing deaths of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zaina Konerdal, and Ethan Chapin. He could face the death penalty if convicted. In April of 2023, law enforcement was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's Amazon user activity for the months of March, November, and December of 2022. Police allegedly found he purchased a KA-BAR knife with a sheath and sharpener in March of 2022. His click activity also indicates he searched for a knife with a sheath after the murders, the court document states. A KA-BAR knife sheath with a United States Marine Corps, abbreviated USMC, logo was found lying next to one of the victims when police searched the King Road house where the murders occurred. DNA found on the sheath was traced to Kohberger. The Latah County Prosecutor's Office also included a selfie Kohberger took hours after the murders. The selfie shows Kohberger smiling and giving a thumbs up in what appears to be a bathroom. The prosecution says it was taken at 10:31 a.m., November 13th, 2022. This evidence was introduced to support a surviving witness's description of the man she saw enter the King Road house the morning of the murders. The male was wearing a black mask, according to the witness, but she could see his bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's driver's license was also included as evidence. So, what I will do, I have addressed the selfie, but I will address it again since it's in this article heavily. So please allow me just a second to get the picture of the selfie up. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen And this will just be the picture of Bryan Kohberger's selfie, that image. I will enlarge it. And as I said in my prior video, to me, this does not help the prosecution. If they're trying to show that the eyebrows are bushy, it's really very opinionated. It's person to person if you feel it's bushy or not. I do feel the eyebrows are thick. That's just my opinion, but I also have thick eyebrows. People tell me, if I go out, do I want to have them um, thinned out and things like that. So I'm told I also have thick eyebrows. So to me, his eyebrows are thick. That's just my opinion. But the more important thing to me about this picture, this photo that was taken 10:31 a.m., so that's approximately, 6 hours allegedly after the murders. If the murders were at 4:30 a.m., and again, you already know my opinion if you follow this channel, that I believe the murders were earlier. I can recall um, Ethan Chapin's mom saying that 2 a.m. was a dark hour. And my great concern was when Kaylee and Maddie arrived home at 1:56 a.m. and they had no more activity allegedly on their cell phones after 2:52 a.m. I always felt that the original time of the murders was prior to that 4:30 a.m. That I believe it happened after 2 a.m. when allegedly Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie, and Zayna were all at the property in the house. And I have a little caveat for that, but I believe the murders of Kaylee and Maddie happened after 2 a.m., possibly after that 2:52 a.m. time frame where their phones had no more activity. I believe the murders happened for Kaylee and Maddie after 2:52 a.m. I am not sure exactly the time frame for Ethan and Zayna. I've always put them together as far as the deaths, but I do feel that they could have possibly been killed prior to the murders of Kaylee and Maddie, and even separately, not even at the same time, or maybe not even at the same location. The reason I feel this way is because I feel that a lot of the evidence is conflicting. For example, uh, the girls are saying, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are saying they were at the King Row home at 1 a.m. So when I hear that time frame, and then I later hear Dylan Mortensen say that she saw Ethan and Zayna at the party, the fraternity party, at 1:45 a.m. Well, you can't be in two places at the same time. Either you're at home at 1122 King Road, or you're at the fraternity party and you're part of that. So you can't say that you saw them until 1:45 a.m. at the party if you were already home at 1 a.m. And also, it was found out that Zayna's father, it was alleged that he had communicated with Zayna, and she said that her and Ethan were at home. I believe it's about midnight, 12:30 a.m., watching movies and eating pizza. Um, so it's some conflicting information, but I do believe that Zayna and Ethan could have been killed at a different time than Maddie and Kaylee on the third floor. I'm not even sure if they were killed on the third floor, but their bodies were definitely placed in the bed. More particularly Kaylee, because she had defensive wounds, which make me feel that Kaylee was standing up when she was attacked and stabbed to death. I'm also concerned that it has come out recently that Maddie Mogan had 3 mixture of male DNA under her fingernails clippings. So it's unclear to me if she also had defensive wounds to have a three mixture male DNA under her fingernail clippings. I don't know if she had defensive wounds. It appears that she may have also fought back and got some DNA under her fingernail clippings. We don't know who the three mixture male DNA belongs to. We know it's not Bryan Kohberger, but it makes me question what we've been told that allegedly the roommates were sleeping in their beds when this happened. That may not be the case, particularly because on the 911 call, no one throughout that phone being passed to different people ever mentioned that there was blood in the house, that the roommates were not moving, appeared to be deceased with blunt force, sharp injury, or stabbing. We did not hear any of that. We were told that Zaina appeared to have passed out from being drunk the prior night. We did not hear anything about blood or anything like that. And we've been told that this crime scene was gruesome, it was bloody, it was very tragic. It was one of the worst crime scenes that law enforcement had ever seen in 20, 30 years and things like that. Yeah, I have a lot of concerns. The biggest thing that stands out to me is that Zaina allegedly had defensive wounds also, that she fought back against the attacker or attackers. And Zaina wounds, they appear to be from a edged weapon. So it appears that something was striking her, hitting her that had an edge. That left marks, bruising, injuries on her body that was also different from Ethan Chapin. Ethan Chapin, from what is put in the affidavit of Brett Payne, that he received sharp force injuries. So there was an object that allegedly Ethan was attacked with, and it was considered to be a sharp force. So his injuries were also different from Zaina's injuries. And the really sad part is it appears that Zaina and Ethan, they were brutally attacked, viciously attacked, as well as Kaylee and Maddie, but they were stabbed to death. We are told that Kaylee had upwards of more than 50 stab wounds. We also know that Maddie received stabbings as well. So it appears that there are three possibly different weapons used. For Kaylee and Maddie, of course, a knife. Now, we don't know if it's just one knife because we've been told that the wounds did not match, that some of the wounds were gaping, they were large. We were told that they were like large punctures, that it was a very brutal attack against Kaylee and Maddie, but they did not have the same wounds. So it makes me think that maybe there was more than one knife, different size knives, knives. Maybe one knife being larger than the other knife or having a larger blade. These wounds are, described as large punctures. Okay. It's very, very sad and dark. So what I want to say about the selfie or the picture that Bryan Kohberger took at 10:31 a.m., hours after all of Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Zaina were murdered, Bryan Kohberger doesn't have any scratches on him. He doesn't have any injuries that we can see on his hand or his face, his neck. He doesn't appear to have any wounds or cuts or scratches, abrasions. He doesn't have any what would be called defensive wounds. Someone scratching him. someone hitting him, someone fighting back, someone pulling his hair out, scratching his face, scratching his hands, his arms. He doesn't have any busted knuckles or cuts. So, um, it's very telling to me. If this was a vicious attack, a brutal attack across two people in each room, if these murders happened in the house in 1122 King Road at the property, we don't know, but two people at a time. Um, he doesn't have any injuries, okay? So I'm gonna take his picture now. I'm gonna move on from that, but that's something that the article really, really talked about. Now let's move on. I wanna talk on the basis of the motion. So Bryan Kohberger's defense, they filed a motion to suppress the records regarding the subpoenas and warrants relating to the Amazon account. So I have shared the motion that the defense filed. Is on the Hidden Horror Facebook page. I have shared the complete motion. It's 11 pages long, but I'm only going to go over a very small amount. And then I shared the response from the prosecution, but I did not share the exhibits. It was a 29-page document. So I shared, I believe it's about 7 pages. That is the written response. And then what is attached at the end is the statement of Brett Payne. Okay, we don't need to go through that again, but it's out there if you need that. But I just put the written response because it was a lot of pages. Okay, so let's quickly go over the defense, Bryan Kohberger's motion to suppress the records regarding the Amazon account, okay, the warrants and the subpoenas. So Bryan Kohberger, he wants to have those records from his Amazon account suppressed, not allowed as evidence in the trial. The trial is set for August 11, 2025. I believe jury selection is July. It's at the end of July. But he wants to suppress those records. The basis is they feel that they should not have been allowed to go in. Initially, the FBI they're alleging obtained the records, and then the state of Idaho then requested a warrant and obtained the records. And they want to suppress the records. They're saying that they violated the Constitution by subpoenaing. I don't know why I can't pronounce it. Putting in a subpoena for Bryan Kohberger's Amazon account. I don't see an issue. This is just my opinion. I don't see an issue with them requesting the records for Amazon. And the reason I don't see an issue is because if he purchased the KA-BAR knife, that is just one element. It's going to be more to that. And I'm going to go over a ton of questions that I have, all of my thoughts and concerns, but that is just one element. Was it his purchase? Was it a family account? Like some people share their account. If he purchased it and ordered it, did it get shipped to him? When he obtained the knife, did he keep the knife? Did he lose the knife? Did he sell the knife? Does he still have the KA-BAR knife he purchased? These are all questions and thoughts that I have, and that have to be proven. Even if he purchased the knife, he was living his hometown at the time before he moved to Pullman, Washington. It was about a 3-month difference. The knife was purchased allegedly in March of 2022. He moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 2022. Did he move and take the knife with him? Did he leave the knife at his prior home? Did he sell a knife? Is it even the same knife, similar style, design, the same thing as the knife sheath that was found? So I have a lot of questions. I'll go over them. But the defense is basically wanting to suppress this evidence. They're saying that his Amazon account is private to him. That account information should not, through the Fourth Amendment, should not be allowed to have a warrant issued to obtain his records and his history. I think it's an important part of the case, not just for the prosecution, but also the defense. If he purchased the knife, is it the same sheath? Is it a different sheath? What type of blade is it? Does the wounds that primarily Kaylee and Maddie received, because we don't know if Ethan and Zaina received stabbings also, but we know Kaylee and Maddie did. But do the wounds match the knife? Is it a smooth blade knife? Is it a serrated blade? All of that matters when comparing it to the wound. So this could also be beneficial to the defense if it shows that none of this lines up with the evidence. Okay, so I think it's very important. I'm going to go down to the end. They're just asking for the evidence to be thrown out. They're saying that it lacked probable cause, that they should not have been able to get this warrant in the beginning, that they heavily relied on law enforcement without details. They had said some other stuff like, they had two things that they knew, which was the similar car and then the bushy eyebrows, and they basically took that information to try to obtain the warrant, the history, and that is violating the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment. I don't know how the judge is going to make his determination about this evidence, these records. But I feel it can actually be advantageous to Bryan Kohberger if he's saying he is innocent, and that if he did purchase the KA-BAR knife, did he still have possession of it? Does he still have a possession of it to this day? I know through the searches that were done, they did not find a knife. They did not locate a knife, allegedly. So I don't know what happened to the knife that he purchased and the sheath. And I believe they said he received a sharpener as well, a knife sharpener. I don't know, but he would be able to explain that. He could have sold it. I have no idea, but those are just some of my thoughts. What I do want to go through next is I want to go through the prosecutor, just a few things about the prosecutor's response to the defense motion. So let me just, don't see it here. Let me see if I can find it. It's about 7 pages long. I might have to read it. Okay. I don't see it here. It's posted. Let me double check to make sure that it posted okay. I'm not seeing that it posted for me. Sorry, I have like 3 other devices in front of me, so my apologies. I don't see that the post went through. So what I will do, I will I would post it once the video is done, but I just want to go over a few of the things, so I apologize for that. So again, the prosecutor, they responded to the motion to suppress the Amazon records and the warrants. They gave a little background, how, the importance of the records is relating to the case, which is allegedly the KA-BAR knife sheath was found on the right side of Maddie Logan on the 3rd floor. Okay, so that's important. That's a big part of the case, and that had allegedly Bryan Kohberger's touch DNA. Okay, we know you can get DNA from saliva, you can get DNA from hair, blood sample, the touch DNA, your skin cells, from semen. You get DNA from a lot of sources, right? So I believe the DNA source is from the skin cells on the knife sheath. Okay, so I'm going to jump down. This is going to be, I believe, about 7 pages. I want to jump down to page 2, just so we can go over a little bit of what was requested from Amazon. Okay, so I'm not going to read it all. You can read it at your leisure, but it says the search warrant directed law enforcement to seize from Amazon.com, number 1, Bryan Kohberger's customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories. Number 2, payment methods used. Number 3, details of items in carts to include all items added to cart, all items removed or deleted from cart, wish lists or shopping baskets. Number 4, all suggestions made to account. Number 5, all records regarding reviews by other Amazon users viewed by Bryan Kohberger. Number 6, advertising data. Number 7, devices used to connect to account. Number 8, all account linked to account. And then they're talking about that they limited the search warrant, because that's a lot of information. So they limited the time frame in March, and then the time frame slightly before and slightly after the murders in November 22 on allegedly November 13th, 2022. Okay, so that's important, so we know what the details are. Let me look really quick. There's a lot of legal arguments being made, so we're not going to go through any of those. It's up to the judge to make the decision, but again, I agree that this is vital information. This information is important to the case. It's important to helping figure out if this is a matching weapon that allegedly and possibly could have been used in the murders. And I think this is specifically relating to Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogan, because we know that their deaths were through stabbings. We don't have all the details about Zane and Ethan, but it appears that there were 2 different weapons, objects used to kill Zana Kernerdle and Ethan Chapman. Okay. So I'm just going through it again. There's some more, but they feel that overall that the information about the activity, it is relevant. It goes to the possible weapon that was used in the murders, and it is supporting evidence to their theory of how some of the students were murdered, and they want to be able to confirm that the sheaf that Bryan Kohberger purchased matched the sheaf that was left next to the right side of Madison Mogan. Okay. So they're saying this is relevant. This is important information to be shared with the jury. Okay. So we're not going to go over that anymore, but I will share these the prosecutor's response. Okay. I will share that. So now I want to go to one more article, and then I'm going to wrap it up with my final thoughts and things that I'm thinking about, things that I am considering as it relates to the KA-BAR knife, Bryan Kohberger allegedly purchasing a KA-BAR knife on Amazon. Okay, so this article, it comes from foxnews.com. It's titled Idaho Murders Case, Bryan Kohberger's Amazon History, Phone Tracking, Witnesses Denied by Judge. This article is dated March 19th, 2025. And it reads as follows. An Idaho judge has denied Bryan Kohberger's request to bring in defense experts to offer testimony against the prosecution's theories about his movements and Amazon shopping history. The information defense seeks to convey can be presented by declarations, Judge Stephen Hippler wrote in an order Tuesday. Counsel may have the witnesses available by video streaming during the hearing, and should the court determine it is necessary to hear from the witness, the court may allow such testimony by video live stream. So Judge Hippler is saying, if we need your experts for the defense against the prosecution theories and about Bryan Kohberger's movements and Amazon shopping history, we will allow you to have your experts ready and available on video live stream. And if I need to ask additional questions or need more information, then we can go to them, but they can put in declarations their opinions. We will take that, and then if there's questions that arise, then to save time, to expedite things, we can go to them on the video live stream. Okay, let's continue. One expert is David Howe, who the defense planned to call as part of Kohberger's bid to have his Amazon shopping records and click activity hidden from jurors. Defense attorney Elisa Masov argued that no Amazon evidence, including click activity on the app, should be introduced at trial, in part because the term is vague and because prosecutors have allegedly failed to define it or describe the nature of expert testimony prosecutors want to introduce. Well, I don't know if purchase records and online activity, as far as the clicks and the account history, is considered expert testimony. I believe that you can have if they dealt with the FBI or if they dealt with the police officer and the warrant, whoever reviewed the information, requested the information and reviewed the information, could probably testify, but I don't know if that needs to be an expert. I don't know if that person needs to be employed by Amazon. I believe, like right now, I can pull up my Amazon history. I can go back years, probably at least 10 years. I've been shopping on Amazon. I remember it was a period where I allowed my brother to use my Amazon account, and he had purchased, I don't know, 50 watches. And he told me, well, the reason I was ordering all these watches is because I was just going to sell them. And I'm like, what? And I guess the watches were like under, I don't know, $10 each at the time. So I was thinking to myself, he's like starting a watch business on my Amazon account. So I just had to tell him, like, listen, I'm going to have to change my password because you're kind of abusing my Amazon account. You just wanted to order like a few things. He's like ordering jewelry, watches, just everything. And I'm just like, listen, this is too much. This is too much. I'm getting a bill hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I won't say I share my account, but I did allow him. He needed to make a few purchases, but it had turned into him really enjoying Amazon, and their prices at the time was very reasonable. And he thought he could kind of like make money selling these watches for, a higher price. But that's all to say that, did I search for watches? Did I want to purchase 50 watches or whatever that number was and all this jewelry and stuff? No. But he just used my account. And after that, we no longer agreed on that. So but I even share my account like with my daughter. I make purchases with her, and then I made purchases like for when I volunteer and things like that. But you know, nothing like a weapon or anything. But my whole point is, I don't think you need an expert to go over that history or to locate the fact that a knife, and more in particular, a KA-BAR knife was purchased. I don't think you need an expert. But anyway, let's continue on. We're getting off track a little bit. The state's refining of all the Amazon history and Amazon click activity is out of context, incomplete, and unfairly prejudicial, thus making it inadmissible, she continued. So it says it's out of context, it's incomplete, and unfairly prejudicial. Well, I kind of disagree. The fact that allegedly the the KA-BAR knife sheath with the USMC insignia was next to the victim, Madison Mogan. Um, that gives you context, and you don't need the entire history of purchases and activity. That would be a lot. It's like they zeroed in on what they needed. Maybe they knew about the purchase. I'm not sure how, but clearly they look for specific dates. And I'm sure, just like me, I purchase all kind of things. So everything is not relevant to the facts of the case. They're focusing on the crime and the fact that there was a KA-BAR knife sheath. So they're looking for that, and they found that in the history allegedly. So yeah, they don't need to have anything else. Um, they've searched during that period, and they've searched during the time frame before and after the murder. So that's as complete as you need, in my opinion. And it says it's unfairly prejudicial. I don't know how. um, you can't deny if they've been able to find this purchase of the KA-BAR knife. I'm going to say allegedly being purchased in March of 2022. You can't deny that, but what you can do, the defense can explain that. Maybe he wasn't satisfied with the knife or the quality, and he sold it. Or when he moved, and he moved in June of 2022 to Pullman, Washington, maybe he didn't even take the knife. I don't know what the answers are, but I'm saying the facts are still relevant, but you can put on witnesses and testimony, and if you have evidence to refute it. Um, but you can't deny that that's a fact if he purchased that KA-BAR knife, okay? So let's continue. Mossoff also argued that Amazon's AI-driven algorithm shapes user behavior by serving up products it predicts shoppers would be interested in alongside paid advertisements. So I'll give you an example. Um, at some point, I was into like, let's go like camping. I want to go camping, which I didn't, but I was just in this phase where um my nephews and nieces were younger, and I'm like, I want to go camping, but I didn't. I never did. I ended up going out of state on a trip with the kids when they were younger, and we stayed in a beautiful, like really, really nice, what would you call it? Like a log house, like a log cabin. Really nice. Um, but I never used the tent. I bought like a 14-person sleeping tent, It had doors. Well, it had a door. It had windows. You would be off the ground, and it could hold a lot of people. You could put a table in there. You could put blow up mattresses in there. I bought all this equipment. I bought lanterns, and I never used it. I ended up selling it to somebody for like $100. I just wanted to get rid of it. But I did use it maybe like 2 or 3 times for like cookouts. But my point is, when I made that purchase, maybe AI would show me other things related to camping. Do you need chairs? Do you need a grill? Um, Whatever. They can recommend whatever, from your buying habits, and you still have to buy the item. Even if they show me something or recommend something or think this is good for me, I still have to want to buy the item. So you can make this statement um to kind of say, well, AI is presenting these options, but you still have to want to buy the item, right? So to me, that doesn't really fly. You know, they can show me anything and they can predict what I may want by advertising different items, but I still have to want to buy that item. So that's my opinion. Anyway, let's continue. The suspected murder weapon has not been found, but authorities recovered a K-bar knife sheath under one victim's body that allegedly had Kohberger's DNA on the knife sheath. This is another thing too. And listen, don't get mad at me, but my mind thinks about all kind of things. Say it is Brian Kohberger's knife sheath. Maybe Brian sold the knife. He didn't like the knife. Some people had break-ins where their weapons have been stolen. Is that possible? Maybe he lost it, on a camping trip or left it somewhere. It could be it could be true that that is his DNA, but it could also be a reasonable explanation for it. Now, if that DNA was in blood, then I would, feel a little bit more. Um, or if there was some other DNA at the scene, um, I would be, you know, pressing it more. But you can't explain some things. If you touched it, if you used to own it, if you gave it to somebody else, if somebody borrowed it. I have another brother, well, really two other brothers. One of the brother, he always borrowed things and never gives them back. To him, borrowing is basically keeping forever. I had brand new fishing rod one time, and I, wasn't really fishing a lot anymore. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take my son fishing. Can I borrow the fishing rod?" I said, "Oh Lord, I'm never gonna get it back." But I know that's how it is. He'll come borrow something and you never see it again unless you go to his house and you see it. And he's like, "Oh, I forgot to bring it back." He never gives you anything back. So it could be that instance. I don't know, but I'm just thinking of everything, thinking of different things. I think it's important for the prosecutor to be able to show the purchase, show that Brian Kohberger made the purchase, show that the purchase is matching the tan knife sheath that was next to Maddie Morgan's body, but also showing that Brian Kohberger had possession. Did he leave it when he moved? Did he sell it? Did he loan it to someone? Was it stolen from him? You can think of all kind of reasons why your DNA is on something that belonged to you at one point, right? But I guess as long as you can put that evidence on, it does tie him to it in a significant way. And what happens, you end up adding more and more information and evidence to get someone convicted. So this will just be one piece, if it's allowed in as as evidence. Okay, let's continue. The Amazon records have not been made public, but could potentially show a K-bar purchase. NBC's Dateline reported in 2023, so they knew this in 2023. Okay, this is 2025. That Kohberger purchased a K-bar knife over Amazon in 2022 before moving to Pullman, Washington to attend Washington State University. The report has not been independently verified. I wonder, with him, with Ryan Kohberger, the reason why he purchased the KA-BAR knife, if he purchased it, um, was he an avid hunter? Was he someone that liked to collect knives? Was he someone that took long walks, or did he feel threatened? Um, I don't know. Like, I'll give you a couple examples. I can relate to the purchase of knives in a couple of different ways. I'll just give two. One, my husband, he will buy me pocket knives. Like I've told you guys in the past, if we were on the road, I might pick up a knife, but those aren't as quality. So he'll spend more money to get a really quality knife. So I do have like quality knives too. And then myself, I told you I have a cooking channel, and I cook and all of that. And I tend to buy knives for cooking purposes. So I bought some very nice Sheffield knives, very antique, that I was able to find. I have the like block knives, that go on the block. I have a brand new set of that. I haven't even taken it out the box. And then I found myself, maybe like in the last 2 months, finding some steel lifetime knives where if anything happens with the knife, I can have it replaced. Um, Super nice set of about 10 knives. I was really excited, really happy. Like, I was like, can I show you my knives? Like, when my husband got home, like, listen, honey, I want some knives. Let me show you these knives. And he's like, whatever. But I did find myself having an interest in knives, and like the Sheffield knives. They're in a box, they're encased, they're in a set. Like, I'm never going to use these knives, but I wanted them because of the quality, the craftsmanship. They have like some type of quality handle. I don't think it's marble or anything, but it's some type of stone, like super nice. And then the steel knives, I mean, they're just so sharp, and it's like a nice set, and they're individually wrapped. So I'm like very impressed with these knives. And then, like I said, the kitchen block, I haven't even opened. I don't know what I'm even waiting for, but eventually I will set them out, or maybe I'll give them as a gift, because now I have knives that I've never even taken out the container. I have to like stop buying knives. So um, all that's to say that he might have had an interest in knives too. And I do carry a knife, but it is just a regular knife that you can like place in your purse. I'm big on safety. I'm big on protecting myself. I believe, hey, carry, something to protect yourself, in case you're ever assaulted or attacked or confronted, things like that. I really believe in protecting yourself. So I don't know. Um, he's had studies just like me, so he may feel strongly about protecting yourself and things like that. The KA-BAR knife, that could be more of a man quality, because that's a really large knife, not my thing, but I do understand that people like that. I used to know a few hunters, and that was something that was their thing. They like purchasing knives, but what it comes back to for me is, you know, this knife is found next to a murder victim with your DNA. So you're going to have to address that, explain that, detail. What did you do with the knife? Now, let me finish this this article, and then I'm going to go through some of the things that are my concerns. Okay, so let's finish this article. Okay. Oh, the other expert, Hitler's order identified was Cy Ryan, which could be a reference to Cy Ray, an expert on geofencing and tracking movements through phone data. Neither authorities nor Kohberger's lead defense attorney, Ann Taylor, responded immediately to a request for clarification. They're not. They can't. It's a gag order. The defense planned to call Ray in response to FBI agent Nicholas Valency's analysis and interpretation of phone, tower, and call records, which Kohberger's team disputes as severely flawed. Now, this, I actually agree with the defense. I do believe the information about the tracking of Bryan Kohberger is flawed, and I only believe that because of the PCA. I have a whole video on the GPS tracking and the satellite tracking and all of that. You can check it out in my collection for the Idaho 4 case on YouTube. You can. I'm not going to even go over it, but I do agree that it was flawed. It's not correct, and they're going to have someone as an expert for the defense to testify to Mr. Kohberger's whereabouts during the time that they believe the murders happened. But again, I believe the murders happened prior to 4:30. I again think that the murders started, and I've always felt this for Kaylee and Maddie after their phone stopped working at 2:52 a.m. I think that Zaina and Ethan could have been murdered separately from Kaylee and Maddie, and also prior, before Kaylee and Maddie. I don't know. It's just so much conflicting information. I know they recently released the 911 call, and they also released the text messages between Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. I just don't know if the time is right. I don't even know if we can rely on the autopsies and any reports from the medical examiner, because I think we lost so much time when Britt Payne arrives 4 hours after the 911 call, and then Kathy Mabbitt, the coroner, she arrives 5.5 approximately hours after the 911 call. We've lost a lot of time to get body temperature, get a time of death from the bodies. Now, they can look at the contents of food in their stomach to kind of gauge the time of death. I don't know if that happened. I guess we will have to just wait for those autopsy reports to try to get the time of death, or look at the phones of the victims, not Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. Look at the phone of Zaina and Ethan, Maddie and Kaylee. See when their activity ends, okay, it stops. So let's continue. The defense has separately asked to have Balance blocked as an expert witness. Both witnesses were expected to testify at an April 9th motion hearing. Kohberger is scheduled to go on trial August 11th in connection with the stabbing deaths of Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Zeno Conerlo, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. The 4 University of Idaho students were killed in a 4 a.m. home invasion attack on November 13, 2022. Kohberger was studying for a PhD in criminology at the neighboring Washington State University. He faces 4 charges of first-degree murder, 1 of burglary, and could face the death penalty if convicted. A judge entered not guilty pleas on Kohberger's behalf at his arraignment in May of 2023. Okay, so we're done with the article. Now I just want to wrap it all up. I'm going to give you my thoughts. And it's only going to pertain to the KA-BAR knife alleged purchase by Bryan Kohberger on Amazon. Everything I want to say right now is pertaining to that purchase allegedly by Bryan Kohberger. So I just need more details, right? These are just some of my questions, okay? Do they have the receipt for the purchase of the KA-BAR knife? If they have the receipt, who paid for the KA-BAR knife? And What is the address that the KA-BAR knife was sent to? So I'll give you an example. Part of my volunteer, I have made purchases, I have made gifts, and I have sent them directly to the recipient that I want. So if I'm volunteering at the school, I may think of them. It's near the end of the school year. I may just want to send them a care package. I may want to send them snacks, popcorn, candy, things that they like in the office, and I won't have it sent to me. I'll have it delivered directly at the school. And not just that, if I buy someone a birthday gift or anything, whatever, I will have that item shipped to that person versus sent to me. So who received this KA-BAR knife? Who purchased it? What was the date? Where was it the knife shipped? Okay, was it shipped to Bryan Kohberger? Was it shipped to someone else? They should be able to tell you that information in the invoice for the purchase. Um, and the purchase is going to be able to detail with a picture, um, with details. What is the color of the KA-BAR knife? What is the color of the KA-BAR knife sheath? We know that the KA-BAR knife sheath that was found next to Madison Mogen was tan, and it had the USMC insignia on it. So was the knife sheath that Bryan Kohberger allegedly ordered off of Amazon, did it have the USMC insignia? Was it also a tan color, right? What was the color of the handle of the knife? Because allegedly they have not found the knife. So that would be good to know what you're looking for, right? One big piece is there's all different types of blades. So you can have a smooth blade, and let me I do have a picture of a KA-BAR knife. So let me share my screen. I'm going to enlarge this. So this is the button snap right here. So this is where allegedly, Bryan Kohberger's touch DNA was on. But what color was the handle of the knife, right? What color is the sheath? Next to Madison Mogen, it was tan, and it had the USMC insignia on it. So what color was the sheath that Bryan Kohberger ordered? Okay. I'm concerned. This is a smooth edge blade, but they also have different types of blades, serrated. Does the knife, the KA-BAR knife that Bryan Kohberger allegedly purchased on Amazon, does that knife match the wounds of either any of the roommates that received stabbings, but more specifically because we know that Kaylee Gonclaves and Madison Mogen received stabbings, does that knife that Bryan Kohberger purchased, does it match or is it similar to the wounds that Kaylee or Maddie or any of the roommates that received stab wounds? Does it match? Is it similar? Is it similar to the wounds, the injuries, the stabbings? Would that knife produce the same type of wounds, similar wounds? What about the thickness? How wide was the knife? How long was the knife? Does it match when you look at the autopsies of both Kaylee and Maddie or any of the victims that received stabbings, okay? Does it match the injuries? We need to know that. Does the sheath have the USMC insignia on it? Can the tan knife sheath that was found next to Madison Mogen be traced back to the purchase that Bryan Kohberger made? Can Amazon, can the manufacturer KA-BAR, can they match this knife sheath to the sale? the purchase that Bryan Kohberger made? Can they match it? But moreover, can the prosecutor demonstrate, prove that Bryan Kohberger was in possession of the knife? Can they prove it? Can they show it? At the time of the murders. Because a lot of people can think, well, just because you purchased something, it doesn't mean you owned it at the time of the murders. Again, you could have a theft. You could have given it away. You could have lost it. Someone could have asked to borrow it, whatever reason, you know. They've even had cases where people have committed crimes using someone's weapon and then returning the weapon to them. So, you know, a lot of things are possible, but you know how I feel. Is it possible? Is it likely? This is not looking good for Bryan Kohberger. Um, but again, when I see the picture of Bryan Kohberger, as I said before, when I did the video on defensive wounds in my Idaho 4 collection, check it out, please. That was something that I noticed when he was arrested. When Bryan Kohberger was arrested, he didn't have any defensive wounds. I didn't see any on his arms, his hands, his face, his neck. And I was looking, I was checking for him because I know that's something that you would see, especially and in particular, a stabbing, a brutal knife attack. You will see defensive wounds, and we are told that Zaina Coronado had defensive wounds, and also Kaylee Goncalves had defensive wounds. It's just a extremely hard situation, a sad situation with the death of Kaylee, Maddie, Zaina, and Ethan, and for them to just be so, you know, and we need answers. And we're going to keep looking. We're going to keep going over this evidence, trying to figure this out so that we can ensure that all killers or the killer is brought to justice. These victims, they deserve justice. They have had an injustice happen to them when their lives were taken, and nothing that they could have done in life would be to receive the level of violence that came upon them this night, November 13th. Nothing they could have done in life. They deserve this. I don't care what anybody thinks. I just think of them. I wish their families peace during this difficult time. This is not a sensationalized story for me. I really hope and pray and that efforts are sincerely made to find the killer or killers. What happened to them? What happened the night of Saturday, November 12th, into the morning, early hours of November 13th, that Sunday morning? What happened to them? What happened to them? What were they doing? Where were they at? How did this all unfold? 4 people, 3 different appears to be weapons. You know, could one person do this? And in different ways, very vicious attack on them. So my thoughts are with their families. We're trying to figure this thing out. We're trying to make sense of a lot of information, putting the pieces together, trying to have an understanding, in particular because the house has been taken down. We've lost that evidence. the more evidence that comes out, a lot of it does not relate to Bryan Kohberger. This picture to me does not help the prosecution at all. The information on the KA-BAR, if it is true and they can prove it, they can document it, it does. It's very damning for Bryan Kohberger. But is Bryan Kohberger the only suspect we should be looking at? Is he the only one, or is there others? Is there more? I've seen so many things and heard so many things, and there are some people that believe that Bryan Kohberger is guilty, and there's some people that believe Bryan Kohberger is not guilty, and or he's been framed, set up. I will reserve my opinion. I'm just going to go over as much of the relevant evidence as I can and present it to you. And please tell me what you think. Tell me your assessment of what has come out, what is coming out, because it's a lot of information. This case is a huge, huge case. 4 victims. You would think that there would be many, many witnesses coming forward providing information, and hopefully that's happening and we just don't know about it. I brought some information on this platform, and I'm going to continue. Okay, so please let me know what you think. Thank you for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to please stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy. Be well, all my friends. Have a beautiful evening. Bye, everybody. Bye.